Hello. So today is I actually don't know what today is. I want to say the 24th because it's past 12, but I could just be wrong and it could be no. The 25th is Christmas. Yeah, the 25th is Christmas. So today is technically Christmas Eve since yeah, today's 24th. Yeah, I got it. But uh I had so many ideas of what I was going to say once I just started recording, but I'm just kind of blanking out. I decided I want to do this out of spontaneity, just being spontaneous, I guess, because I feel like that's a part of what I need in my current life. I'm not sure who's gonna watch it, and I think, honestly, I think maybe some online friends will watch this, or a future me will look back on this video and watch this, but I just want to talk about, I guess, how 2023 was. I feel like a lot of people are feeling like just because it's December that the year's technically over. And like, I kind of get that, but at the same time, I definitely feel like December is still a part of the year. There's so much you can do during that part of the year. I've always kind of like struggled trying to like properly time manage that. I've always pushed off like changing my bad habits into good ones until like Sundays because like it's technically the beginning of the week. So I would just push off everything until a day that seemed right. And that just never worked because I didn't really care about truly changing. I guess I just wanted it to be or seem so perfect when in reality it's not. I know I sound pretty vague right now, and I don't know what exactly to say to make it not sound vague, but one thing I did really learn from 2023, I think, is to stop counting on waiting on certain days for me to try to get better. I think I've decided that being better can just start anytime. If I wanted to get better now, tomorrow, I think I should just start doing it at the moment. I guess at times it makes sense to wait until tomorrow, but like, who's stopping you from trying to be different than you were just a few hours ago? I think I got that like quote from some video I watched. I think it was talking about how you can be just so much different in just 5 minutes, in a sense. You decide who you want to be in 5 minutes and who you want to be now. And you could be a totally different person from who you were 5 minutes ago. And I don't know, it just sounded so profound to me that it kind of stuck by me to the point where I stopped waiting for the next month, the next week, or the next year even to try to become a better person or try to do something. Because I think I've always struggled with just doing anything because I was just so overwhelmed with living, I guess. For me, I struggle in the mornings. In the mornings, there's like a buzz in my eyes and a buzz in my head. Maybe I think it's just because I'm not really a morning person, but also I feel like it's a part of living, at least for me. Whenever I wake up, I guess struggle kind of getting out of bed. I'm trying to work on it, and I think there are days where it's better, while other days there really is not better. I wake up around 8 or 9 when I don't have school, and then I just kind of lay there on my phone for at least 2 hours, and then I nap or sleep again for an hour or 30 minutes, and then it's finally 12, 11, and I decide that I'll get up, and I will go downstairs, and then a wave of like overwhelming dread kind of fills me, and it's just like very stressful in a sense. Like the feeling, like the thought of just like getting up and making food or breakfast for myself seemed like a genuine challenge. And I don't think it fully goes away, but I think after I get into it, I start having fun, because I think I do enjoy cooking. I do enjoy cooking good, savory sandwiches in the morning for myself, because they taste good, decently, I guess. But cooking those sandwiches, like while doing them, is actually pretty fun. But moments before I even start taking the ingredients out of it, just that walk to the fridge itself is so like dreadful and overwhelming that I just want to lay down somewhere or sit down and just scroll on my phone and just, I guess, distract myself for brief moments until I have enough energy to keep going at it again, and then feel that dread again, and I ultimately just make something to eat, and I would go back upstairs, and I guess I go take a nap for an hour or two, and after it's like, what, 3, 4, I decide I'll get up, wash my face, and brush my teeth, and then at that point, I guess I just go about my day. I think that type of thing resembles my very like depressive episode back in quarantine. I'm not exactly sure when. I want to say 2020, because I guess that's when quarantine happened, but it might blend into 2021. But during those days, I like remember so like clearly in my head how miserable I was. It's kind of like how I am right now, but the thing is so different. I would wake up in my bed again as usual, but I would lay there on my phone continuously for 12 hours, and then have enough energy, and then I'll walk to my parents' room, and then lay down there for 2 more hours, and now it's 2 p.m., and I would get up back up again, and go brush my teeth. Halfway, I would get that toothpaste in my mouth, start brushing for a bit, but standing up felt tiring and also overwhelming, and I would take my toothbrush and lay back on my parents' bed and have the toothbrush in my mouth for the next 2 hours, just laying there. Sometimes I'm not even watching anything, I'm just laying there, or I end up falling asleep. Finally, at 4 p.m., I wake up or have enough energy to get out of that bed and finish brushing my teeth and splash some water on my face. And then I go back to my room and just play games all day. I don't even remember if I ate anything or I just whipped up some random cereal and called it a day. But those are the days where I think, or at least for now, currently consider my most miserable days of my life. And I think a part of how I feel right now, or recently, vaguely resembles those days. But at the same time, I think it's definitely better. And I'm really grateful for that, honestly. One of the biggest things I think I've learned, because I'm just a 16-year-old, is that I think, at least personally from my life, I think a lot of things you do is about the amount of effort you actually put in. I'm not trying to say that everyone's experiences are the same, like, no way, because I don't think it's really possible for some people to at least even have that energy to do something, and so they just suffer. But for me, I think for what I did to get out of these depressive episodes or trying to move on with my life was to put in that effort, to put in and keep going, like continuing life, despite feeling that sense of dread or overwhelming feelings of nothing, basically. I would just keep pushing on. I would change my mindset. It's just things like those, I think, are what got me out of my depressive episodes. And I don't think it'll work for everyone, but I also don't think that waiting for someone or the universe to come save you will do anything. I'm not a very spiritual type of person, I don't think. I'm more of a you create your own destiny type of person. But at the same time, I also want to believe that the universe is real, in a sense, that like things will work out, and the way things happen is because the universe is setting you on a path. But I don't want to believe in that, because the reason I am here is because of the hard work and effort I put in. And I'm not trying to sound cocky or whatever, but comparing myself to like my freshman year, when just, I don't know how to say it, but I think I was really entitled back in my day. Like, in freshman year, I was really quiet, and I always thought I was just the type of quiet person until I felt comfortable. And yeah, that still holds true, I think, but I always had like a sense of feeling that I was somehow better than those who spoke more. But I think I've come to realize that I just envy them, that they have the confidence to speak up and not be afraid of as much of what other people thought, I think. It's one of those feelings where the teacher asks the class a question and you have an answer. And let's say this is math class and you know the answer, but yet you don't raise your hand even though you know you have the right answer, because, I don't know, you feel scared that it's wrong and then you'll be laughed at. I guess that's how my brain looked at it. So I just never raised my hand. And at some point, I decided that I hated feeling like I blended in with the crowd. And I don't think that's the worst thing. I think blending in the crowd does do some good for sure. And my mom always tried to tell me that nobody cares you, in her like Chinese way of saying stuff, just that I'm not special and I was just ordinary. So I kind of kept on with that thought in my life and just thought, I am ordinary, I am no one special. And in a sense, it's good, because it like just demonstrates how even if you make mistakes, life goes on, and you can move on. But it's bad that it caused me to kind of hide who I wanted to be. So I would just stay quiet and stay reserved. I think one of the biggest things that sparked my change was during sophomore year. I had an astronomy class, and at some point the teacher asked for a volunteer from the class to just do like a quick fun experiment on a roller chair or something, and no one raised their hands, and I didn't either, but eventually someone did, and they did a really cool experiment, and it seemed fun, and I thought, damn, why didn't I raise my hand? What was I so afraid of? The class was nice, I think, and the teacher was really nice too, but yet I didn't raise my hand. And at those moments, there wasn't even a wrong answer. It was just volunteering to like spin around on a chair to demonstrate like gravity, inertia, whatever. But I didn't raise my hand. And I just kind of looked at myself, I looked at my hands and thought, damn, I'm like everybody else. For some reason, that kind of scared me. So I think at that moment, it's just a random day and random class, and I just remember it and decided that I want to be someone who isn't afraid. My storage was full apparently, so I had to clear out some of my iMessages with lots of videos and TikToks, and also deleted some of my photos after I saved them on Google Photos. But I'm a sentimental guy, and these random moments, I think, is what defines me the most. And that's what I remember. I started my change, or at least I think I started my change when I had to actually make a on-the-moment speech to a group of people for a club to tell them why I should become a board member. And I did it because it was either I did or I didn't. And if I didn't, I would just go about my day as if nothing happened, and it wouldn't change my life. I would go back to blending with the crowd. It was an option where I purposely put myself out there and felt vulnerable to people's like judgment, I guess. Because I definitely have some sort of social, I guess, anxiety around speaking in large crowds. I'm not good at public speaking. I think when people like all are just looking at me, I kind of freeze up, and my face gets all red. It feels hot, and even my ears get all red as well. And I think that's been part of me since a very young age. I remember like sometime in third grade or even kindergarten, I'm not sure exactly when, but I had a presentation, like a show and tell in sports class, and I brought in some Pokemon cards. And during the presentation, I just looked at my cards in my hand and I just froze up for a solid like 30 seconds. And I just panicked and thought, damn, why is my show, this class, I guess, show to the class like so boring, and just froze me up, and I'm just so scared to say the next word, and people are just looking at me, and I just kind of stood there empty-handed, and I just snapped out of it and then started speaking. But that carried on, and it was at that moment during my speech where I decided that I had to do this, not only for my future, but also because I didn't want to run away from anything anymore or take the easy route. So I spoke up, and I got red. I started slurring my words. I really just said some random things, and I made incoherent sentences. I stuttered. My face also got red, I think. My face felt hot, but I managed to become secretary, board member for the club. And that has led me to so many different experiences and meeting so many different people. And one of them was actually the club president, which I actually looked up to because he was very extroverted and outgoing. And I looked at him and thought, damn, I kind of want to be like him. I want to be someone that's outgoing and someone who's kind-hearted and just cared about people and cared about nature. And so I kind of admired that. And now I'm the club president for the same club now. And I think I've become someone different. I think compare myself towards my freshman year counterpart, I've definitely become more extroverted, becoming more social, and made so many different experiences that I'm honestly very grateful for. And, you know, I think it's all derives from, I guess, like the accumulation of everything, from the little things and the big things that ultimately did change my life, which is, I think, really beautiful in a sense. And I think those are the things that makes me want to live, at least for tomorrow, knowing that there's so many things I can discover, so many things I can do. I know this video is supposed to be like a 2023, like a rant about 2023, but I just can't help but just like reminisce about everything that's happened over the years. But yeah, I think the person I am today is due to my past. And this is where like moments where I feel like the past happened for a reason really matters, because I think without the past I wouldn't be who I am today. I definitely think there are times where I regret something in the past, but at the end of the day it's just me and time moves on. There isn't another version or universe that I can look into towards the what ifs. Like, don't get me wrong, it's amazing to just distract yourself from reality and imagine scenarios of what could have been. But I think I'm okay with what I have, and I'm grateful for what I have. I'm content. I'm content that I've become someone who's dependable, not by just others, but someone I can depend on for myself. I'm proud of where I came from and how much I've honestly grown since then. And I want to say that every year people grow a little bit, but I guess, let's say, I'll die at 100. I've not even been 1/5 through my life, but I think I've definitely grown, at least little by little in different parts, and sometimes we're not even realizing it. But for me, that's why I believe it's more than just the universe. that has to work in your favor for you to become who you are. I think a bit of it is dependent on your own actions and how much effort you put in. Because it wasn't easy to suddenly become more extroverted, but it was through those hardships of decisions of whether I speak up or not, and going on from there and learning from there to be who I want to be. I think one of the most defining moments of my year, and I'm not sure how to say it, but one time I had a friend over. It was a friend hangout with like a group of my friends that shared ELA class with me, and I had the first one that arrived. I haven't seen in a long time because they transferred to online school, and I'm happy for them because it made them feel happier because traditional public school really just wasn't good for them, and I'm glad they did something that made them happy. But I talked to her for the first time in a while in person, and I just like sat next to her, and I was like, how have you been? How was online school? And we just kind of talked for a little bit, and I grabbed my hand and held her hand and just told her that I missed her, that I loved her. And she whips out the you're honestly a very good friend, and I'm thankful for you towards me. And at that moment, I just started tearing up and like crying. And speaking about now is just like also making me a bit emotional. Not out of sadness or anything. It's just happiness, I think. Like happiness tears. Because I think I've always been an emotional person. Someone who's always like struggled to find friends or happiness, I think. I mean, throughout all of my fourth grade, I cried every single day because I had friendship problems. And I think the teacher got so annoyed at that. He just wanted it to be over. But I just cried every day. And I got nicknamed like the crybaby or whatever. But at those days, I was, I guess, just trying to find friends and find acceptance, and hearing that you're a great friend to me from someone who I also cared just as much about really just kind of hit, I guess, hit a deep part of me that really made me like start crying, and I'm thankful for that. And I look back on all of my friends, and I'm thankful for each and every one of them. I think I'm someone who cares. I know it's weird to say, but I feel like everyone might have this feeling, but at some point you might think, oh, what if I'm low-key a sociopath, or I'm crazy and I actually don't feel emotions. But it's moments like these where I get sentimental and start thinking and like get emotional. Like it's like I'm thinking, oh damn, I definitely feel emotion, because those moments like mean a lot to me, and I'm very thankful for all the people like that are in my life. And I've come to realize that the reason I have friends is because at the end of the day, it's all about the effort you put in and how much you genuinely care for someone. I've definitely had bumpy roads with my friends in the past. Well, I mean, my current best friends, I have times where I have not talked to them for months, and we would have fights every day. But recently, I've kind of grown out of that. Hello, I don't really have fights with those friends anymore. And it's not like I think fights are bad or anything. I think fights are natural and it could be a good part for growth. But what changed that was communication. Putting that effort to talk with your friends, putting that effort to be vulnerable and talk about how you feel. It's those moments, I think, is what creates deep friendships. I mean, compared to now, to freshman year, I think I've like doubled my friend group or doubled the amount of people I know. Every day I meet someone new, I'm talking to someone new, I'm experiencing something new, and I've come to realize that I've become someone who is quite likable. And the reason for that isn't due to some scientific thing or whatever, but rather because I think I have the ability to care and the ability to show that I care. And sometimes it's probably one of my downfalls, but it's also the thing that represents me the most. I've been emotional and I've been someone who's always needed friendships because I've been an only child my whole life and I've been home alone since I was 5 and didn't really see my parents until late at night. And I kind of grew up being myself. So I've kind of developed a sense of need to find someone else, but also a layer of protection because I've been alone for so long. And the first people to break through those walls are my close friends. The people that I've talked to and have those vulnerable talks with. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for each night I stay up talking to them about life in the dark and just being vulnerable with them. It makes me teary-eyed. And honestly, that's the secret to having friends. You gotta put in effort for other people. And depending on how much effort they give back, that's truly how good the friendship really is. I think communication and commitment goes both ways for sure. Because at some point, you might also realize that some relations are to be let go of because the communication isn't there. And so it's hard to be honest and to be vulnerable. And I'm someone who really loves language. As a kid from immigrant parents, I was in ESL for at least half of my elementary school years. And I think I had a deep accent because English truly wasn't my first language. And even now, I think when I listen back to my own voice, I think there's a bit of me that sounds different or incomprehensible. But either way, who cares? But I don't know. I'm just happy. And 2023 taught me that to be happy is to put in effort and just being grateful for what you have. I think even now, I think compared to like January to now, like I feel like a whole different person. Even though it was technically only 1 year, and I even feel like I look like a different person, but honestly, I feel like I probably don't, and that's fine. Um, I guess through physical wise, I did cut my hair during the summer. I got a little buzz cut. Then I went on a New York trip and continued having that short hair. And honestly, having short hair is so much more easy than having long hair. Like, oof. Having short hair, you just kind of like dunk your hair underwater real quick and then just wash it and then call it a day. And at least that's what I do. But change is nice. Change is the real only constant in your life. So instead of fearing change, I think accepting it and what it has to offer is the best way to move forward with life. And damn, that was right, wise. Like, I feel like a wise old man. But I think I'm excited for the new year. You know, one of the biggest reasons I'm excited for the new year is because I'm learning to live life. I think I recognize so many of my faults through different means. I mean, I think I'm a very self-aware person. I know, it, well, I think I'm self-aware in my own sense. I can think very deep into my emotions and where they come from. And I think part of me also knows the solution for my emotions. But it just depends on me and how much I kind of want to act on them. I think for what it's worth, everything I go through means something, and it's also something that I'm thankful for. I'm not sure what I have, but I definitely am privileged. I'm thankful for what I have. I have a house, I have food, I have clothes, I have a phone, I have close friends that do a lot for me, and close friends that I cry with, close friends who I just talk to because I enjoy talking to them and playing games with. There's people that make life genuinely worth living, and it's something I don't think I could have believed in during 2020, during that deepest depressive era I've had. But I got over it. And using that as like my benchmark for the lowest of the lows, it just kind of makes me feel like each day is progress. And I think that's one of the bigger things that changed this year as well. I stopped relying my self-worth on the amount of things I do or how productive I was. I think all of last year, I've just kind of developed a sense that depending on how much I did, whether it be cleaning the house, doing my homework, working out, going outside, cleaning my room, or something like that, I depended my self-worth on how productive I was. And when I wasn't able to work out, or when I wasn't able to read a book, or I guess go outside, I would get, like, I would say, depressed after that. And I would just begin laying on my bed again and just not doing anything and being less productive. It was like an endless cycle. I felt worthless if I didn't do anything and wasted the day away. And this year, I've realized that, yeah, sure, I could have done more, but I'm still very proud of myself for getting through with the day. And that has made me overall like much more happier about my own self-worth, but also just made life more easy, and thereby I guess makes me more productive a little bit. Of course, not that much, but life moves on. And that's the biggest lesson I learned from not trying to always depend my self-worth on productivity. Another thing I think I got rid of is my hypocrite complex. I think I had a sense of a complex in that I would, I guess, fault people for being depressed because at that time I was depressed, and I would guess tell people that, oh, why didn't you start seeking help, or why aren't you asking for help from others or trying to change? And I think most of that came from me just being upset with who I was or who I wanted to be. I just lacked a sense of identity. So I just kind of hated the things I did, and thereby I kind of felt like a hypocrite because self-hate is not good. So I would be like in a cycle of like, oh, I hate myself, but I also hate people that hate themselves, because why should you hate yourself? It's like a weird complex, but it just kind of like kept me in a loop for a while. And I just kind of continually like felt like a hypocrite, also hated myself, I guess. But at some point, I just kind of moved on from it and just kind of started living for the sake of living. I don't know. I think there's so many things that happened this year. So many that I literally don't remember. Like, my mind is kind of going blank, and I'm saying things as it comes out of my mind. Like, I'm not even saying things to think. I'm just saying things without thinking. I'm just rambling, kind of. But I think that's also why I want to catch that on camera. It's a vulnerable part of myself, and I want to show the world, my future self, of how different things will even be in 1 year. I'm super excited for next year, honestly. And one of my biggest reasons for that is I think I'm kind of done seeking for relationships. And I know it's kind of corny or whatever, but going back on that idea that I'm an only child and I've kind of relied on myself, I've always kind of wished for a relationship. I think, and I mean like the romantic relationships. And I think it comes from like all the movies I watched or TV shows as a kid, where I developed that love, at least from someone you like, will genuinely fix all your problems. And that's also something I learned this year, which is not true. I went on a family trip during Thanksgiving with my parents, and I visited my cousins, and we went fishing for the first time. And damn, dogs, I actually thought it was kind of fun. And I felt like a hillbilly, like a redneck hillbilly fishing and whatever. But it was legit kind of fun. Just that sensation, just pulling the fish out of the water was something. And I'm glad I experienced it, because it was something I'm down to try again. But I spent a lot of time during that trip kind of self-reflecting, because I've kind of had a crush on someone, or rather some guy, yeah, I had a crush on some guy starting like late October, and they were just kind of in my mind the whole time, like constantly, and I would just kind of obsess over it because I think, I guess, I'm so hyper fixated on the idea that someone could fix all my problems, that love can fix all my problems, that whenever I develop crushes, I kind of do get obsessed over them, even though I didn't really know them for that long. So I would hyperfixate on them for hours and just think about it. And whatever they do kind of dictated my mood. Let's say they don't respond for a few hours, but I see them online on Instagram or whatever, and that would just ruin my day because, well, it just showed that they weren't putting in the effort to respond to my message or care enough. And that would make my mood terrible. And I would either try to double text and try to get their attention again, or I would try to distance myself and until they text it again, and I will feel good again until they do something I don't like or they don't do something. I repeat the cycle, and I come to learn how that's actually called anxious attachment, and that's obviously unhealthy to have your like happiness kind of be dependent on someone else. So I've kind of decided that I didn't want that. So at some point, I guess starting at some point the past month, I started journaling. I started writing notes to myself and putting them on my mirror. I mean, all of these are just sticky notes I give myself, positive affirmations or whatever. And I would do that. Right before every time I go to bed, I talk to myself in the mirror and just tell myself how much I love myself. And I guess it's really thanks to him that I recognize all of my issues regarding attachment and thinking I need love to be happy. And I'm glad that I recognize this before the end of the year. And I'm excited for next year because I think next year is the year I stop wishing or hoping that a relationship will come and somehow save my happiness. Because going back on that little fishing trip, I think I'm just rambling, but on that fishing trip, I had like feelings or moments where I kind of really wanted to tell my mom about my crush. And so eventually I did. On the car ride home, I talked to my mom, and at that moment, through like a very open and honest conversation with my parents, I was kind of able to tell them who I liked. And one thing to know is that my parents are obviously like kind of closed off towards me liking guys. It's something I kind of just grown living up with. I came out when I was 6, and I've like came out like every year since then because I guess my parents just kind of didn't believe it. So I just came out continuously over the years. And this time, I was talking about my crush, and my mom said that she didn't care who the gender was. Because my dad was asking, oh, is it a girl? Is it a girl? Is it a girlfriend or someone? And my mom stopped my dad and said, I don't care who it is. I'll find out when you show them to me one day. And then she started talking about how young love is beautiful and how she had her experiences when she was a child. And at that moment, I kind of felt so accepted to who I was. I kind of felt like a calming sensation in my heart because I kind of got that parental support that I felt like I kind of lacked all those years growing up home alone and growing up without my parents directly telling me that they supported me. And having that, I slept happily and with a calmness in my heart. But I woke up the very next day realizing that it won't, like, that parental support didn't suddenly make me happy or make that dread of living disappear. It definitely helps with it, for sure. It definitely helps with living with that dread, having someone that supports you and someone to hold hands with during breakfast. Because I made like breakfast for my mom and I, and we ate breakfast together while holding hands. And I'm grateful for that. I held my mom's hand while we ate breakfast, and I felt at peace. But I also recognize that there won't be a singular event in my life that will somehow fix all of my issues or make me stop dreading living. Like, I finally got the parental support I needed, but yet, I guess a part of me was still in that dreadful sensation of living. But I ran out of storage again, so back what I was saying, but about, I guess, my parents. I guess there isn't really one thing that will change your life suddenly and make you from like depressed to happy. It's just little things that build up to make the dread of living less painful and much more doable. And I've come to recognize that that was what I was kind of seeking in relationships with someone, that maybe a relationship will solve all my issues, but I think it won't. After getting that parental support and realizing that I was still somewhat miserable, even if just the slightless between, seconds where I was alone and in my thoughts, I truly think that if I got into a relationship, it will definitely make me happy, for sure. But it wouldn't have fixed all of my issues. And I've kind of held myself back from that because every year I would have just hoped that maybe this is the year I'll get into like a real relationship with someone that I liked. They liked me back, and we would have these, I guess, epic dates where we would hang out and cuddle or whatever. And I think I'm ready to let go of that. And I think after this my most recent crush, I think I'm letting go of that too. I'm letting go of that hope that there may be something more out of it, but I'm okay with that. It doesn't mean like I'm not gonna prevent myself from getting into relationships if it happens, but I think I'm just gonna stop seeking for it. I'm just gonna take that time off for myself and fix what I can't fix. And fix my broken attachment issues and my bad habits like procrastinating or whatever. To break out of that on my own and to find contentment and happiness on my own. Because at the end of the day, I think a partner should only make life better or like make life 150% rather than completing that 100%, which is supposed to be done on your own. And to find love and to feel loved without thinking that I need someone else to do it for me is probably the thing that I need the most right now. And that's why I'm letting go of my feelings for my crush. And I think it's probably the best thing to do. And like I said, I'm not a spiritual person, but if it was truly meant to be, then it's meant to be. And perhaps the universe made me have this crush one last time before the year ended to tell me or to set forth a path for me to find that true self-love and peace on my own. And I don't think it'll be a quick or fast journey. I think it'll definitely be a lifelong one. But because I have a whole lifetime of it to go through, why not start now? Why not start today, right at this moment, at 3 a.m., recording this, rather than wait any longer? I wanna feel at peace. And that's what 2023 has shown me. That I am loved. I'm loved within my family. I am loved within my friends. And I am learning to love myself just as much. Just as much as I love my friends and my family. And to show that love to myself. I think that's the lesson I've really learned from 2023.